Hey guys, I'm Haley.
I'm Caitlin.
And this is Extension in the Kitchen. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad to have Caitlin back onto the show. We've had her on once before to talk about livestock in Stanley County. So I'm just going to give Caitlin a second to talk about her position with Cooperative Extension.
Yeah, so like she said, my name's Caitlin. I'm the livestock agent here in Stanley County. So what I do is my job is to educate farmers or just the general public on livestock related topics. A lot of what we do here is cattle and forages. We're talking a little bit about pork today. We don't have a lot of pigs here. But yeah, so education for things like that. A big focus is on grasses and stuff. They say, you know, to grow animals, you have to be a grass farmer. So forages is a big topic, but that's kind of what it is, livestock education.
Yes, and it is so important. Agriculture is very important here in Stanley County as well as in Anson. So she does split her time in both Stanley and Anson counties. So if you can't catch her here, you can definitely catch her there, spreading all the education and all the love to all of our livestock farmers and friends. So today she's bringing the delicious part of livestock to the show. Last time we did a yummy steak, so we're switching it up a bit and we're gonna go for some pork, which I'm really excited about. And so this recipe uses pork tenderloin. And so especially with my program, as you know, I love teaching about eating healthy as well as, you know, some basic cooking skills, because the more we cook at home, the more we have control over what's going in our dish. So obviously, it's very important that we learn and get confident with our cooking skills at home. Start teaching our kids as young as possible to get in the kitchen, start making things on their own. And so today's recipe is a family favorite. My child loves eating Mexican food every single week, and so do I. So we're going to do a lovely pork taco using pork tenderloin, which is a leaner cut of our pork. So I'm really excited about this. It's going to be super delicious. So we'll talk more about the livestock program as we start cooking, but I'm ready to dive in because everything's looking really good. So we're going to kick this off by turning our pan to like a medium to medium high. And I'm going to get Caitlin to go ahead and add some oil into our pan for us. Today we're using an olive oil. I recommend using any oil that is plant-based, that is liquid at room temperature. Any fat that is solid at room temperature, our butter, our lard, those things tend to solidify in our bodies as well and lead to chronic conditions. So anytime you can use olive oil, avocado oil. What are some other oils you use at home?
That's about it.
Is that it? Canola oil is another good one that's usually more cost effective as well. So this is a great option. And there's also some misinformation out there about olive oil. Some people think that you can't use it for a lot of dishes because it has a low smoke point. And while the smoke point might be lower than some, it's still high enough that as long as you're not deep frying, you're never going to reach that smoke point, so you're good to go. So we're going to have this at a medium to medium high, and before you put that on, it is recommended that we go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper to our pork. So if you want to just kind of season that a little bit to taste, that would be perfect. And you can even kind of use this guy to move them around if you need to before you put it in there. Give it a little bit. And Caitlin did go ahead and cut this up into bite-sized pieces for us. So however you want your pork for your tacos is perfect. That looks great.
Right. We're good to go.
All right. Okay, so we are letting this heat just a little bit. So I'll tell you about our other ingredients we have before we put our pork in. Today we are using a whole grain taco. Another option is to use corn tacos. That's another great whole grain. I love a corn taco. It also is going to be higher in fiber than your white tortillas, so that's a great option. And we also, I want to show you guys over here, it's important to add as much produce to your recipes as possible. We know we need more fruits and vegetables, guys, and the more color, the better. This pepper right here is called A Piece of My Heart. And our horticulture agent is growing these currently in his raised beds. And so I'm excited to use this pepper in this recipe today. It's going to add some great color, some great crunch, some great nutrients as well. And it's a mild pepper because I don't think Caitlin's big on the hot.
Not a big spice.
Okay, good. So we'll use those as well. So I think that we are good and we're heated up. So let's go ahead and add some of our meat first into the pan.
Let's see.
We're gonna go ahead and put that in.
I think that's good, or a little more?
I think that's perfect.
Okay.
And so it's important not to overcrowd your pan. And so, you know, we don't want to waste this. We're probably going to cook it up later after the show, but we want to make sure we have plenty of space in the pan for everything to cook nice and evenly. So that looks great. All right. And what else do we have that we want to add now?
Onions, you think?
Let's go ahead and add in our onions. Yeah, so whenever you're cooking everything in a pan like this together, you really want to start with your harder vegetables first and then go with the softer vegetables. So we'll add in things like our onion, which is also going to add lots of flavor to the dish. And we're going to add in some fresh garlic as well, which I love garlic. Garlic goes in all of my recipes. So we've got this right over here, and I've already minced some of it up. And while she adds that in, this recipe calls for about 4 cloves. And I'm just going to show you how to cut up this clove, just in case you needed a little extra refresh. So this came off of a bulb of garlic, and this is going to be one of our cloves. Again, garlic is a great seasoning for our recipes. So you're just going to put a little pressure to get that outside skin off of that garlic, just like that. And if you have a garlic press, that's great. I don't have one today, so I just like to use a chef's knife. Make sure your knife is nice and sharp. And we're just going to mince it up like so. All right. Kind of using the back of your knife as the scraper, and then cutting it up like this. Okay. So again, if you wanted more of a garlic flavor, feel free to add a little bit more. I feel like the more the better, okay? So we're gonna add that in. And while that is cooking up, let's go ahead and add in our Piece of My Heart peppers as well, Caitlin.
Alrighty.
All right, so I know you said we don't have a lot of pig farmers here in Stanley County, right? Is that correct?
We have a few.
Yeah.
I think a couple. I want to say more of what we have are going to be people, you know, that are growing a couple pigs in their backyard to cut for meat. I cannot recall if we have any like contractor pig farms. I think we've had
Gotcha.
1 or 2 in the past. But it is a pretty, you know, we said I work in Anson County too. We do have a couple of more down that way. A couple contract growers that do grow pigs.
Nice. And tell us about, so as we know, there is an opportunity to donate hay at this time. Is that something you just wanted to spotlight a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, you know, Western North Carolina is kind of struggling right now. So I have had some farmers contact me looking to donate hay to send that way for farmers that the hay got washed away, don't have a way to feed their animals. We have some plans in the works that has to be coordinated through USDA, things like that, so that they don't truck it there and then get turned around because they can't go to the drop point. However, we're working on getting that worked out. At any time between now and next Wednesday, if you have spare hay you'd like to donate, Rolling Hills Gin in New London, I believe it is, has offered to house that for us and then ship it to the Mountain Research Station when we get the go-ahead for that. They are there, I believe she said 7 to 5. However, if you go between 11 and 1, they're subject to be at lunch. But if you do, having a little extra hay that you want to get rid of or just donate, there is an opportunity to do that there so we can help out our neighbors in the West.
Yes, that's a great opportunity. So if you have any other questions about that, I'm sure you can reach out to Caitlin and see what the needs are as well, because we want to make sure we give where is needed, right? So that's a wonderful opportunity to help in Western North Carolina with those supplies. So some other things, if somebody were to call you, so what are some common calls that you might get around livestock? Like, what are some things that you can go out and help with?
So common calls right now, and you've probably even seen this in your yard, army worms. We have those that are just taking out hayfields, pastures, so I would, make recommendations on what to spray, how to plan to reseed and recover your pastures. Especially this time of year, we're working towards the fall, even though it's still pretty hot outside. It's, what do I need to plant? What's going to grow best for my animals? And then occasionally we'll have, will you come out and tell me which heifers that might be a good idea to keep, to add to the breeding herd, or what can I do to improve my herd of cows? What can I feed my horse best? Things like that, that we can kind of bring from the university and put out to you guys.
I love that. And I know there are, some, water questions that maybe you get as well. What kind of questions tend to go more your way versus are meant for maybe soil and water or even the health department?
Water quality questions, always soil and water, the health department. If you've got a pond that's got some weeds in it, I'm also the pesticide coordinator for the county. So I can try to make a recommendation based on what weeds you've got. That's kind of the breadth of my water knowledge. Oh, goodness. And I'm learning every day. Ponds were not my strong suit before I got here. But in the past 5 years, I have learned a little bit. So those kind of questions kind of fall under me, but anything quality related is going to need to go to environmental or soil and water.
Very cool. Yeah, you get a lot of questions, and sometimes, when people don't know where to send a question, I feel like they always call us, which is fine, because,
they do.
we'll get you to the right spot either way. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and let's add some of our seasonings in.
Alrighty.
So it looks like the next thing we're going to add is our brown sugar. We have about a tablespoon of brown sugar. As we know, sugar is one of those things that Americans tend to overeat, and sometimes they're hidden in things that you don't even think are that sweet. So it's important to read those nutrition facts labels. Look for where it says added sugar, because if something has fruit in it, it might have natural sugar. If it has milk in it, it might have natural sugar. That we don't worry about as much as we do those added sugars. But, a tablespoon here and there will just impact the dish in a good way. And so we're not going to worry too much about that tablespoon right there. We're also going to go ahead and add in some chili powder and some cumin. Let's see, we have, in this recipe, we have half a teaspoon of cumin and 1 teaspoon of chili powder. The recipe does say you can use ancho chili powder, which is just a type of pepper that has a little bit more heat to it. So if you want a little bit more heat to your taco dish, feel free to go in that direction for sure. Otherwise, today we're just going to use our regular chili powder, which is perfectly fine as well. So she's going to add that in there for us and see how that is.
I think I did that backwards, but it's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. We'll just add a little more chili powder here in a second, and I'll add this much.
Go ahead and add a half a teaspoon of that, and we want a whole teaspoon, even a little bit more. I like a good chili powder,
Oh yeah.
so you can't add too
And
much of that one.
especially on seasonings. I'm a measure with the heart gal.
Yes. I have some cooking with herbs classes coming up. So if you are, again, also at the end of the year, I'm doing a couple make your own seasonings class, because as well as cutting back on added sugars, we want to cut back on those sodium as well. So a lot of us are over consuming both of those, and this is just a great way to already have your pre-made seasonings prepared. It's cheaper than buying them already pre-made for you, making them yourself. So feel free to come to these free classes or reach out to me, and I will tell you more about our classes that are coming up. Most of them are at senior centers, Albemarle Library, and I do some here as well. So just reach out and we'll see what works best for you. And if there's not something that's convenient for you, call and let us know so that we can plan that into our upcoming year. So we want to make sure we are providing educational opportunities that work for our community. All right, so that's looking good. Also, it says to add oregano, and so I went and picked some fresh oregano from our garden out back, and I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to add this because this is fresh oregano. If it was a dried oregano, we'd add it in a little earlier. Since it's fresh, I want to add it in a little bit later, so I'm gonna hold off just a little bit because I want to be able to really enjoy the taste of this oregano. Okay, so I think what we can do next is go ahead and add in our orange juice.
Alrighty.
So we'll go ahead and put in our OJ and stir it in really good, please. It's smelling amazing in here, by the way. I'm so excited. So we'll continue to do that for just a couple of minutes. And while I do that, I will show y'all how we're going to do this. So, you know, the flavor here really comes from the leaves of the oregano, but you could definitely cut up that whole stem and put it in there. It's not gonna hurt a thing. But just for purposes of making this perfect for you guys, I'm gonna pick those leaves right off. Smells so good. Gonna help me pick some of these leaves off. Just gonna put them right there. And I'm gonna cut them a little bit smaller so that we're not biting into a full oregano leaf in this dish. And again, there's no right or wrong really about, again, the fresh is gonna be milder than the dried, so you can add a little bit more of the fresh oregano versus the dried oregano. I'm going to get a bunch of this off because I want to be able to taste these yummy herbs. Herbs, again, since they add flavor, it is a great way to help you cut back on that salt. And also, a lot of our herbs and spices have antioxidants in them as well, which is very important to our health and fighting off things like cancer and other chronic conditions. So it helps our bodies to repair, which is very important. So I'm just kind of going to bundle those up and cut them as so. Give this a nice flavor. So not too long ago, guys, Caitlin had her big livestock Olympics.
Yeah.
Her livestock show. And this was the first year that we were able to hold it at our local livestock arena.
Yes,
How did you feel about that?
I loved it. That I tell people that's my Super Bowl. It's our biggest event of the year in the livestock world. But we have tons of kids come out and show their sheep and goats and heifers, and we had probably, I think we topped out about 63 kids and over 100 animals. So it was a long day, but it was a great day, and we had so much fun in the new arena.
It was such a nice event. It was alongside of that Agri-Civic Day, which used to be held here at the Agri-Civic Center, and I feel like we had a really great turnout, and so many
think we
people
did.
enjoyed the show. So we look forward to that being continued to improve. But if you have a young child that is interested in showing their animal, what are some animals that you guys show at the livestock show?
So the livestock show is just sheep, goats, heifers. Heifers being a female cow that has not had a baby. So we do those. Sheep and goats can be either male or female. We are looking, probably not in conjunction with Agri-Civic Day, but at starting a chicken show every year. We had a showmanship clinic for that last week where kids came and learned how to show a chicken, and that's a lot easier for some families that can't have, a goat or a sheep in their backyard, but maybe could have a chicken coop. So just another opportunity for kids to kind of get hands-on with animals. So that's kind of what we got going on right now.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, it's always fun. It's so different even if you don't show, it's so much fun to just come and watch. So I always enjoy, even though I'm cooking at it, I still enjoy watching. All right, so I'm gonna allow Caitlin to put some fresh lime juice in here. We've got our juicer,
right.
and so we're just gonna put this, it looks like it should go in that way, but it actually goes in this way, and let her squeeze some juice in. Perfect. Love it. And that's just gonna brighten that up a little bit, give it a nice little citrus flavor in there. Add a little bit more. Lovely. All right, and that is literally what is that's the meat of our tacos, right? And the flavor we added to it. I think we've got everything in on this side. And so what we have over here is our optional toppings. And obviously, if there's anything else in your kitchen, in your refrigerator you want to add to it, I always love pairing my tacos with beans. Black beans are a family favorite in my house. Do y'all like beans?
Beans, rice,
Beans, all the good stuff. And we already added a healthy fat in there. Again, that OJ is kind of sweetening it up a little bit too. You can count that as your fruit for the day. And then if I can put avocado on something, I will. Every single time, I'm obsessed with avocado. If I go a day without avocado, it is not by choice. So I've got this to go on our tacos. Everybody cuts these a little bit different. I always tell my my participants when we're learning knife skills, if you get it cut and you don't cut yourself, you're doing really good. But in general, you want to have a sharp knife, an appropriately sized knife. So if you have something small that you're cutting, you can obviously, see this one doesn't want to come out, does it? There it goes. So you can obviously use a smaller knife for smaller items, but chef's knives are very universal. Since they're big, you can use them to cut pretty much anything. So practice with a chef's knife as often as you can. This is just a trick I use. I always use my avocado as a cutting. I kind of cut inside of the avocado and then push it out. All right. So there we've got plenty of avocado as an optional topping. We also have some pico de gallo as an optional topping. Wipe my hands off real quick. And I also have some fresh cilantro here as another delicious herb and one that's commonly used in a lot of Mexican dishes. And I just feel like people either love or don't love cilantro, but I am one that definitely loves it. Again, you have a lot of that flavor in those leaves there, so we can pick those right off. And Caitlin, if you can help me again, just grabbing some of those cilantro leaves. So I encourage y'all, any of these herbs, spices that you don't commonly use, branch out and try some different herbs and spices every now and then, because you might find that you love them and they do add a lot of great flavor. You know, sometimes you can even use them as a garnish if you want it to just look really pretty, but I'm more about the flavor myself.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so these are a little bit bigger leaves, but very similarly, you can bunch them up, you can roll them up, and you can kind of just cut them to the size you prefer. So we'll just leave some of our cilantro there to top with. And how is our pork looking?
Looking pretty good.
Looking good? All right, and so you want your pork to get to about 145 or higher for its internal cooking temperature to make sure it's cooked thoroughly. So it's important to have a meat thermometer on hand just to make sure that those things are cooked through. But otherwise, I think we are ready to plate these guys.
Alrighty.
And show y'all what we have here. So again, we've got our whole grain tortillas, very important for extra fiber and nutritional benefits. We're gonna add in our deliciously seasoned pork tenderloin. Love it.
Oh, goodness.
That's all right. We'll get him later.
Yeah.
All right.
What else we got?
Top it with some of our fresh pico. And have to have my avocado. You like avocado?
Not a fan.
You don't?
I'm not a fan of it.
All right, we'll leave one off for Caitlin, so I guess she'll get one. All right, but everybody else that loves avocado, y'all are my people. Do you like cilantro?
I do.
Okay, good. So we'll add a little cilantro on both. And voila! That looks so good.
Yes.
Awesome
Good.
job. All right, well, Caitlin, I've enjoyed doing this with you.
Yeah, me too.
Is there anything else you want to share with our community, our viewers, like what's coming up in livestock, what you hope to do, just anything that's on your mind between, you know, both of your counties that you're working in?
Yeah, so right now we're kind of at a lull. It's been a very, very, very busy past couple of months. We had a homestead program planned, so if you're watching this and you signed up, we are postponing that, and we are going to kind of revamp it and re-release it towards January, February time frame. So look for that. We're hoping to make it bigger, more encompass more things, and maybe do it on a little bit better of a schedule that works for people. So look for that coming up, but other than that, we are just kind of wrapping up the year, and that's about it.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, we will definitely have Caitlin back on the show because she brings all the good recipes, all the good meat options. So y'all come back and join us or give us a call if there's anything we can do for you, and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Yeah.